Hey, listen up there, YouTube. Chip here with the Iconic Sports Cycle Motovlog. Well, getting ready to go to work, guys, and you probably noticed this isn't my regular ride. So, what's going on here? Well, had to make some changes. I had a little problem with my other bike. I had to do something quickly, so I had to run out and purchase a motorcycle. Ended up buying an SV650. It's very similar to my Yosung 650. I actually was trying to find another Yosung, but I'm going to get into that in a little bit, why I didn't go with the Yosung, and it has nothing to do with not liking the motorcycles. But I ended up with this. It's a Settle 4 bike, but it's a really nice bike. I'm enjoying it. It has some differences of the the SV650 and the Yosung. Very similar bikes, but there are some subtle differences. But I'll go over that. The other thing I want to talk about, I have a little rant that I want to do on Craigslist and how it works. And it's nothing against Craigslist, it's how people use it. So we'll get into that also. But we'll take a little ride to work this morning. The new Steed has 15,000 miles on it. It is a 2005 Suzuki SV650. And every morning, get this thing warmed up here. After having owned the Yosung for quite a while, I did really become enamored with the sound of that 90-degree V-twin, that Ducati sounding motorcycle. This bike here, when I saw it, it had the pipe on it. It had the Vortex rear sets on it, so I know that somebody wanted it to look like a track bike. I thought it was just meant to look like a track bike, but after riding it, it's set up. One of the things you see online about the SV650 is they have a very soft suspension. Yeah, not this one. It's been tricked out a little bit. The other thing, of course, it's got a pipe and it's been tuned. It runs pretty strong. It's very low geared. If you look at the rear sprocket on it, it's pretty big. So it's not really fast, but it's has no problem getting out of its own way at lower speeds. Has that great sound that I really like. So what happened here? Well, my Zongshen, I was on my way to work the other morning and was going into a turn, and as I came out of the turn, went to upshift, and there was nothing there. The transmission just stayed in the same gear, wouldn't upshift. And so I went, I pulled in a little parking lot there and tried to mess with it. Turns out the shift mechanism, something went wrong in there. Lost its spring tension, so I'm sure it's not like a big fix or anything. The only problem I have is my motorcycle is my daily transportation. I don't have a car, so I have to take this into consideration when I go places. So therefore, I had to do something quickly. So I looked around for motorcycles in my price range. So I had about a day to find something. And actually, my wife ended up taking me to work on Thursday, and then I made some phone calls from work trying to line up a few things. And that Friday, I was going to have to buy a motorcycle. I was going to have to find replacement transportation real quick. So what ended up happening was I put out some phone calls, because I did see a couple of Yosungs online, a couple of 650s that I was interested in, and made a couple of phone calls, left some messages. See, this is how Craigslist is supposed to work, guys. So you have this nice system where you can actually post ads online. You can put pictures, descriptions, you can put your contact information in there, and when somebody wants to buy that thing, they'll give you a call. Then you meet somewhere, they exchange cash for whatever it is that you're selling, and you make a deal. So here's what happened. I looked at 2 Yosungs online. I thought, hey, those are about the price range that I'm looking to spend. It's within my budget. And I ended up, making a couple of phone calls, and nobody called me back. And so then I sent them emails, because on Craigslist you got the opportunity, you can send them an email response, and told them, hey, listen, I'm very interested in buying your motorcycle. Please call me as soon as you get the message. And that was last Friday. Today is Monday, and I still haven't heard back from any of them. So like I said, I don't have the luxury of time. My job demands that I got to be there every day. So I did take one day off that Friday to make arrangements to go find a bike and purchase it. Now this bike here actually the place that services my motorcycle, Brevard Superbike, they've taken care of all the things that I can't take care of, because I am not a motorcycle technician, but I usually take care of the routine stuff, oil changes and that sort of thing. But, anytime I need tires or any type of major service, I usually bring it there, and they take good care of me over there at Brevard Superbike. Anyways, I'm on Craigslist, and I'm looking through, and I see somebody had a Katana 1100 on there. And I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm thinking, man, I've seen that bike somewhere before. And then it dawned on me, it was in the showroom of Brevard Superbike. So they had it there on consignment. So I went down and took a look at it. And while I was there, I told them what was going on, that, hey, my bike was broken and I didn't have time to get it fixed. I had to get back on the road right away. And they mentioned, hey, listen, I got this SV650 we just got. It had a bad fuel pump. We just put it in there. And would you like to take a look at that one? And I said, sure, why not? SV650, I know it's very similar to my Yosung GT650. And so I took a look at it. I didn't even listen to it run or anything. I just, I've known, Todd for quite a while. He said he's serviced my bikes for at least the last 6 years. And he said, yeah, is it a nice bike? He said, sure. It's been a great bike. I said, okay, so I'll go ahead and take it. I'll buy that one. So again, it was a good looking bike. It's got that kind of, orange copper color. It's a, attractive color bike. It's got some like reddish orange SV stickers on there, the factory stickers. So it's a really good looking bike. Unfortunately, the thing about the Zongshen, I got used to that nice upright riding position, and I got used to having the the luggage on there. That was very convenient, so I'm probably going to have to do something as far as getting some luggage there, because I did find that to be very convenient. The other thing I'm thinking about doing, just like I did with my GT650, I want to see if I can find a SV650, the naked version, get the upper triple tree, brace up here, the top brace, and convert it over to the handlebar so I have a more upright riding position. This is tolerable, but it does wear me out after a while. I do love the sound of a 90-degree V-twin. For whatever reason, and I'm not sure what that reason is, the Yosung definitely sounds better, but these sound really good. And again, such a similar design, you would think you do the same things to them, they're going to sound exactly alike. And that's just not the case. The Yosung just sounds like a much more of an animal. Although these two sound really good. Of course, this pipe had a decibel killer in it when I brought it home. Doesn't have it any longer. Geez, what happened to it? I don't know. It just kind of fell out magically. Of course, my wife kind of expected that. But yeah, it's so far it's been a really good bike. I've had it on the road for a couple days now. Again, it is short geared, so it wants to pull. It just wants to accelerate, decelerate. Doesn't really want to cruise too well. Right now I'm just kind of zooming up and down US 1, so if that doesn't change, then that's fine. If the gears wear out, I might consider going with something that's a little bit taller. Again, I'm not going to probably not going to track the bike, probably not. No, there's a good chance I'm not going to track the bike. However, you never know. It has like I said, has a really great feel to it. I think I'm going to enjoy it. Again, it's so low geared. I'm always looking for 7th gear, but that's okay. I'll get used to that. When I generally have a tendency, because of the amount of riding I do, when I do replace gears, is to put a taller gear on there. I even did that on the Zongshen, which was only a 250, but it seemed to handle it pretty nicely. I can tell you from the experience at the gas pump, I was putting about 240 a day in the Zongshen. Last couple of days I've averaged just about probably somewhere around 450 on this one, so gas of course is going up. These bikes, online are looking at probably in the 45 miles per gallon, whereas the Zongshen was coming right in about 65 to 70. So kind of a big difference in gas mileage there. However, this is a lot more bike, and it's not like I was expecting that. It is very similar to what I did with the Yosung. Of course, this is a fuel-injected model. My Yosung was carbureted, so throttle response is a little better. Seems to Well, the power band seems a little bit more linear. Again, it's got an adjustable suspension on here. It's got some stickers on the front forks. It looks like these forks might have been modified. Like I said, it is pretty stiff. It's really controlled. It's not what I expected from what I've read about the SV650s. My Yosung was pretty stiff, but I had it adjusted that way. I had the thicker oil in there and so forth. I don't know what's really been done to this one, but like I said, there are some dynamics suspension stickers on the front fork, so I'm guessing something's been done. Again, I think the previous owner might have used this as a track bike. It's aside from the low gears, it's got frame sliders on there, and like the rear sets on here are set pretty high. Now I will probably also adjust those. My knees are kind of up higher than I'm kind of, and it's okay when I first get on, but it seems like when I get to my destination, which is an hour away at work, I feel a little cramped up in the inner thigh area, and I think it's just the riding position of these rear sets being so high. But they are adjustable. It is a Vortex setup, so when I have time, which don't have a lot of time, I will go ahead and try and adjust those to a lower position that might make it feel a little bit more comfortable for me. Now, the steering on this seems a little heavier than the Yosung, or it could just be that I've been driving that Zongshen for a while, and it's, they had very light steering, but this seems to be, if I remember correctly, a little heavier than the Yosung. But overall, I mean, it's been a great bike so far. It feels really solid. It's the other night when I came home, it was really windy and stuck in a crosswind, and it was pretty stable. And the Yosung was like that also. It was a very stable bike at speed. I haven't had this thing really up to really speed. I haven't had it up on the actual highway yet, but it seems like it'd be plenty capable, no problems. It idles nice, again probably because of the fuel injection. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good bike for me. Again, I think I'll be making some modifications just for the sake of comfort. But yeah, it's got a good sound to it. I think I'm going to enjoy that part of it. I kind of miss that 90-degree V sound. Now, one of the things I did notice, I do, the mirrors on this, I do have to tuck my elbows in a little bit to get a full, clear vision. Now, I was on eBay after I bought the bike, kind of looking at some of the, things that you can buy for the bike. And one of the things I noticed here are some 1-inch spacers that you can put behind the mirrors to move them out a little bit. I'll probably do that too. I think that's probably going to be, as much traffic driving as I do up through Melbourne and Rockledge. I think that's probably going to be in my best interest. But so far, like I said, it's been a fun bike. It's, it corners nicely. It grips really good in the corners. Has some pretty aggressive looking rubber under there. At least I know that when the time comes, I know that they make the Michelin Road 3 that I really like in the sizes for this bike. Hopefully it won't be right away. It looks like the tires are, got some good grip on there. Got plenty of tread left. But guys, I haven't been vlogging much. Again, the Zongshen, it probably really hasn't been very inspiring as far as getting out and riding. It's been a great commuter. For what I was using it for, it was perfect. It's unfortunate that it met such an early demise. I think that the incident that I had a while back where I had to downshift suddenly because I got a guy in a lawn trailer, didn't have any brake lights, come to a sudden stop in front of me, and I had to do some serious, harsh downshifting, and I ended up throwing my chain. So I ended up putting a new chain and sprockets on it. I was able to get it back on and get it back on the road until I could order some chain and sprockets. But I could see some chipping on the edge of the teeth and all that. And like I said, I ride every day and safety and all that. So I went ahead and ordered a new chain and sprocket set. And that's what I went with, the higher gear ratio there. So I have a feeling at the moment that I was kicking the gears down really hard in there when I was trying to bring the bike to a sudden stop, that I might have done some damage to that shift drum inside there. That's my best guess. It's been working fine. The fact that it went out so suddenly, it was really a shock. Again, I don't think it's a big deal, but I don't have the luxury of waiting to, pull the bike apart, see what's wrong with it, order parts, I got to get to work, So I had to do something, right away. Of course, you know, this is never, a bad time to go out and buy a new motorcycle, right? Yeah, so, I always like riding motorcycles, and I like experiencing different motorcycles, so, just gets another bike under my belt. So this will be an enjoyable thing. Now, I am getting rid of the Zongshen. Part of the deal I made when I purchased this one was I was going to trade it in on that bike. So that one will be going away. It would have been nice if I could have kept both, but when you have a sudden big drain of your finances, sometimes if you gotta compromise a little bit to make it a little bit more palatable, This bike does shift really nice. Again, it has a great sound. I again, the Beast Twin sound in that mid 5,000 to 7,000 RPM range is, where it really sounds good to me now. It does pull. I did have it up to 11 grand yesterday just to feel it out. It does have a great sound there too, but for whatever reason, and I guess it's, I grew up in that muscle car era with the muscle cars being in that 5, 6, 7,000 RPM range, with the V8 sound. And of course, your V8 is a 90-degree V, and that's why they have that sound that they do. And I think that's probably the appeal of the sound of the 90-degree V-twin. The first time I heard one, I was on my CBR, and I pulled up alongside of a Ducati Monster. And when that thing left me at the light, I was just like in awe with the way that thing sounded. I was like, oh my God, that thing sounds amazing. It didn't scream like the 4 cylinders I was used to, but it definitely had a sweet sound. And then when I got on the Yosung and I heard that sweet sound that made, I was like, okay, well, I really like this. So that's been my preference since then. I've had the opportunity to drive triples with the exception of the whistle that they have a pretty good sound to them. I don't know, the Triumph triple has this like at lower speeds, it seems to have this little kind of whistle to it, like the old Volkswagens had, but it was a nice torquey bike. It had a nice, mid-range torque, and it was a Triumph Tiger that I was driving, by the way. But it was a really nice riding bike. Really enjoyed the ride on that one. But I know I'm kind of rambling on this morning. Now about the whole Craigslist thing, my little rant there. So here's the thing about Craigslist, guys. You post an ad. You put all the pertinent content in there. You should call somebody back. If you want to sell your stuff, call the guy back that says, I want to buy your stuff. I'm just putting that out there. I think that I would have bought one of the 2 Yosungs had they called me back. Only because, that's what I was looking for. So I hate to say that I settled for this bike because, it is a really nice bike, and it's really kind of very similar to what I was looking for. But I'd have bought the Yosung, And if you're out there watching this and you had a Yosung on Craigslist and you got that message and you didn't return my call, guess what, guy? I would have bought your bike. So guys, this is Chip with the Iconic Sports Cycle Motovlog. I'll be talking to you guys real soon. Bye.